Hi, I'm Sasha Mazurkey, and you're listening to Tone Free, a podcast where we talk about why you don't need permission to be creative and how art can become a tool that helps us make sense of the world.
It wasn't one large dragon, no. It was millions of annoying small things. It's very difficult to hide something or lie in the painting. Piles, actually, of these medical things. What is wrong with our social system that people who had this very difficult experience not get support, but on opposite, they go through stigma? Art, I think, is a quite strong tool to attract attention. I noticed that it's too much, for people.
In today's episode, we continue with journaling, but we are going to be entering through a different door today. Not from a perspective of a journaling guide. Actually, if you're interested in that, check out our previous episode with Marusha. But throughout a very personal experience of an artist who used visual journaling throughout her IVF treatment. We talk about how it was for her and what it grew into. It's quite a sensitive conversation, so if you're ready, let's go. I really wanted to talk to you and thank you very much for being ready because it's a very sensitive, unusual subject. Well, I'm very interested in art diaries in general, sketchbooks and the creative process, but your art diary, very context related. Like you did an art diary during your IVF treatment process. So your medical experience become the reason for you to start a separate art diary. Am I right here?
Yes, that's true.
So I wanted to talk to you about, because you felt the need to do it. So I assume that it was something helpful. Maybe we can unfold why it was like that, what it was for you, and what did the creative process help you to understand, see differently, maybe process, maybe get through. We basically will maybe talk a bit about your experience today and you share as much as you are ready to share. And before I start, I want to give a little bit of statistics because together with this art diary whole thing, I myself can say that it sounds very mild. Women just have IVF and they have babies and that's it. That's another extra support. But when you get into it, here's the statistic. Many IVF patients suffer high levels of distress. And in UK survey, 42% of women with fertility problems reported having suicidal thoughts, at least occasionally, during their fertility journey. Well, for suicidal thoughts, 42% is quite a lot. And there's more other statistics, but I just thought that this one's most representative, so I only leave it here because we're not going to talk about numbers. We're going to talk about art, but I thought that it's important to understand the context. So how did you start journal? Was there a moment when you understood you needed? Was it not really journaling in an artistic way? How did this whole idea happen?
This experience, unpredictably very hard. When you are going to there, you never expect how hard it is going to be. When all this stuff started to happen, all these injections, I just wanted to find a tool which can help me to digest and contain my emotions. It's extremely loaded time. The diary looks quite natural thing to do at that moment. And also, there is another side, bright side actually, because you always have hope and you think it would be interesting to read after, to see your journey afterwards, what it was. My diary halfly consists of drawings, half it's writing. I never reread the writing. I think it's because for me personally it was quite traumatic, so I don't want to read it anymore. But drawings, also because I'm professional, I'm an artist, it was, I have such experience. Anyway, positive or negative result, I should work on it. Also, there is a lot of science during the process. You're experimenting on your body, actually. You look how your body reacts to different medicines. Also, you need to be very precise in doses, in times, and it's hard. From scientific, actually, point of view, I felt like I'm an alchemist, philosophically speaking, that's immortality. I wanted to prolong my life.
Creating new life in the sense of immortality of, I don't know, family.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought, scientists and alchemists always did journaling and writing down feelings, formulas, and recipes. That's how I started. The second part, I spent a lot of time in queues to the doctor.
Yeah.
During that time, you need to do something. And I did a lot of drawings in this book. Also, I had a lot of drawings on papers which I have found in clinics, like before you do blood test. I have a lot of drawings on these papers, which I put inside of the diary.
I see. So part of it is the circumstances, because I had a question later. How did you put it into your routine? Because I know that IVF is very like schedule based experience. You have to be on a tight schedule and you have to be super precise with your time. So many people report that it's hard to keep your normal routine, like almost impossible. And art is often seen as a spontaneous process. Well, there's very little space for spontaneous.
There is no spontaneous. But in this moment, I think I felt like I have all the time in the world because it was the queue is about 2 hours, 3 hours. So you think too much journaling.
When you've been journaling during queues, I understand you use forms and like papers that were also given to you in the medical centers. But was it about like here and now, or were you traveling somewhere? What would you be drawing there sitting in a queue? How would you decide? Was it started with, I don't know, you have this medical paper and you sort of start with something on there or the theme of what you're doing today? Or it was like not related at all?
No, it was related. I draw everything I see around because it's quite unnatural ambience.
Yeah.
So you can also see a lot of objects which you don't use and see in your normal life.
You mean like medical object?
Yes. Mm-hmm. But sometimes when you draw already everything which is around, you already started to fantasize. But mostly I wanted to keep this as kind of research. I was just collecting material for future artwork because I was 100% sure that I'm going to do a series of artworks, but I didn't know and didn't expect that it would be so large. And I didn't expect anything. I just draw, just protocoling what is around me, you know.
Like a scientist.
Yes, I was really into scientific way of doing that. It's like pretending to be something else. This journaling I really, really love because it was maybe first time in my life when I so carefully listened to myself from physical point of view. Listen to my body and listen to my emotions.
Yeah, that's actually a big theme. We often have a habit to listening to our body only when it screams for help. And we don't listen to it when it's mildly discomforted. And we also often don't notice when everything's good. You know, when everything's good, it's just like kind of, it's a norm and you don't pay attention to it. But then you may miss on what actually makes your body feel physically good. You don't know answers to those questions.
Yeah, I noticed some small things which makes me happy emotionally and also physically. That was the moment when I started nowadays it's my daily routine. I go out and sit in my garden with a cup of coffee, and that's the first thing I do in my day. Anyway, if it is 6 a.m, if it is 5 a.m, I'm doing my coffee and go to my garden just for 3 minutes, surrounded by birds singing, flowers. It's a very simple thing, but this thing makes me happy, yeah.
It is very important because we know big things that makes us happy, but like how about little things? It usually takes time to research them. And so for you, it was that time of your life when you actually started actively looking for them, right?
Yes, because also you need to create a support system. And actually, that's in every book you can read about the process, about IVF. First of all, create your support system. That's, I can say, most important thing in this.
Yeah, talking about support system, I wanted to say that there's another statistics that kind of, shocked me in a way. So many women feel they carry the mental and emotional burden of IVF largely on their own. And so in a survey with over 1,000 fertility patients in the United States, 65% of women said that they bore the weight of the journey alone. And that's overlapping with another number, which is 85% of those same patients surveyed said that their partners were supportive. So in 85% supportive partners, and still 65% feel that they do it alone.
I more than agree with this statistic. I definitely was in this 60%. I have great support system. But anyway, I can say for any women who are going to go through that, you will feel it. You will feel being in this 60%. Usually people who don't have this experience, they cannot imagine what is that. And part of your support system is going to be your women friends who underwent through that. This is much more powerful tool than you expect, and I can say that's kind of sisterhood. I have a lot of friends now because this harmful and tough experience, it unites actually women. And I wouldn't actually expect support from partner. They do their best. I'm 100% sure. But it is happening with your body. It is happening with you. Someone else could not live through your experience. It's so about body anatomy. But the woman who goes through that or went through that, that's the people who you should rely in this process.
Do you feel that our journal was part of your support system? And also, do you feel, okay, maybe there are two questions kind of in one. Do you feel that as an artist, if you make this project, does like externalizing your experience helped others to understand maybe what it is?
Honestly saying, I started this journaling quite egoistic, just for myself. But after it became a project which I want to support people who do it in the moment and also people who did it. But firstly, I started it just for myself. There is no teaching, preaching narrative, but it is very intimate and honest because it's for nobody else. It's just for me.
I see. Sometimes I draw like my emotions, feelings, especially when it's too much. And I do feel that it sometimes helped me to understand. I rarely show to anyone those drawings, but a few times it happened. Then I was talking to my sister and I was like, wait a second, I can't explain how it felt, but I'll show you the picture. And I showed it to her and she was like, okay, I get it.
Yes, it's kind of like illustration.
Yeah, it's a metaphorical illustration. And of course, we all give different meanings often to metaphors, but sometimes it is like sometimes when things are too complicated to give them clear, precise words, images can help us share with others what we actually feel and what we're going through.
I agree 100% that it's easier to show your emotions through a visual, and it's quicker actually.
Yeah, you're already there. Experience the feeling before you understood it like logic.
Also, I think personally for me, maybe who is professional writer, it is another way. But if I'm writing and think that someone can read it, I'm writing unconsciously, but I'm writing like I'm having conversation.
I see. Yeah. Interesting.
But when I'm drawing or painting, it is absolutely for myself. And I can say it's very difficult, even for me, for professional artists, it's very difficult to hide something or lie in the painting. Somehow you're feeling your emotion squeeze between your objects, your colors, composition. And anyway, you will paint your mood, your feelings, your emotions.
Whatever you wanted, you mean it will come out anyway?
Yes, anyway.
Talking about metaphors, you say that you feel like you are one warrior with a sword on the top of the mountain. And can I ask you to maybe unfold this metaphor? Because I feel it is so strong. But yeah, we didn't have a chance to talk about it deeper.
Actually, I didn't unfold it even for myself yet, because fairly speaking, because the experience is so huge that I divided into 3 parts, like the more biggest emotions, and this is fight, fear, and faith. And this small soldier with the sword, it is a fight. Yes, it's like a symbol of that part.
But when you say that those are 3 emotions, are they coming all together, or they are one after another, or they're presenting different maybe parts of the process? How do they relate to each other, those 3?
I would say there are 3 major emotions they present in yourself at the moment. Actually, that's a very unusual for simple life moment, because I felt like that my one leg is deeply in past, in my roots, in my ancestral memory. Like I had really weird dreams.
Yeah.
It's not usual dreams. Some dreams were kind of mythological. For example, I had a dream that I'm making love with Centaurus.
That's not something you often dream about.
Yeah. But on another hand, you are working with the latest scientific technologies. From one point, you are super biotechnologist, bioengineering. It's incredible what they do in this field. But you are thinking about your ancestral memory, about your grandmas. And I felt like, imaginative support. But I felt it, the imaginative support of my ancestors.
So you are at the same time going back to your roots emotionally, and you are surrounded by super high technologies.
Yes, like you are looking in goes to the future.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you are looking into your past, and you are between.
That is very interesting and quite well. Like we're always in between, but we probably don't feel it that strong.
But you are never in your daily life connected with these scientific researchers. Speaking back through emotions, I divide it in 3 parts. For example, the part of my project when I'm reflecting on the ancestral memory and primal memory, I call faith. Faith because you're starting to believe in weird things like tarot, pagan beliefs. I am not superstitious at all. But at that moment, I was. In my normal life, I'm again not superstitious. But at that moment, I saw signs. I believe in numbers. I don't know how to explain that. I'm just digging into that right now, seeing Carl Jung. But that's how you feel at the moment.
Yes, I understand. So that's faith. What are the other 2?
Fight is about the soldier with a sword, because definitely you feel like it's your battle and only you can handle it.
When you say it, it's such a strong metaphor, so I immediately imagine something like a storm. The metaphors that is created by our minds are ours. So how would you describe yours? Who is on the other side of that fight?
That was quite clear for me at that moment. You always have some small or big difficulties. You are fighting this because every moment something goes wrong. Believe me.
Yeah.
Every moment. Sometimes you late for 20 minutes for injection, and it's important actually. Always everything goes wrong, to be honest.
Yeah. So it's like myriad of tiny creatures that are attacking you. So it's not like you're with a sword against a dragon that you just need to fight and that's it. There's like
it wasn't one large dragon, no. It was millions of annoying small things.
You need to kill many mosquitoes and all of them can be potentially deadless.
Yes.
And the third one?
Is fragility, because your body is very fragile at the moment.
Mm.
But I can talk a lot about ancestral memory because now I'm working on that. Fight and fragility. I kind of left for my future researches.
I also know that you've been collecting objects.
Yes.
the overalls that you had to wear in the hospital, some of the syringes. How did you come up with this idea and what was it giving you?
As a professional artist, I thought, it could be useful to creating art. Also, it is very interesting to see how much it is incredible piles actually of these medical things.
So how many have you used in a way?
Yes, so several videos on TikTok when some women, they collected syringes and just show the huge pile of them. I integrated some objects into my art, at least at my first project. Now I noticed that it's too much, for people. So it's better to do it metaphorically.
That is a bit ironical. I mean, you have to go through like the piles of them, but it is so scary for people who are far away from it that even one or two in the art gallery is something they don't want to see, which is totally understandable. And at the same time, the contrast between those two realities is quite impressive and also creating distance in a way.
Definitely. And I was so surprised that stigma still exists. And it's not just exists, it's so big, large. For example, my friend, she opened the clinic, fertility clinic. She has a lot of positive results.
Yeah.
And she couldn't find anyone to speak for her video on Instagram.
So people don't want to talk about it.
No one. Can you imagine? No one. And I was surprised. What is wrong with our social system that people who had this very difficult experience not get support, but on opposite, they go through stigma.
Do you feel as an artist that talking visually about this experience, that also the weight of fighting stigma?
Yes, that's my utter dream, to be an artist who would help somehow to attract attention to the stigma.
Yeah.
To show that it's wrong. Such a hypocrisy.
We're not alone, someone else has been there. That may happen to you when you look at the painting and you're just like, yeah, that's how it was for me too. Or like, I'm not alone, right? Something like that.
Yes. And also that's emotionally, art, I think, is a quite strong tool to attract attention.
Yeah, it is.
To start conversation. We can see it in the feminist movement in 1970s. Actually, art influenced a lot, positively influenced.
As you say, it is very hard to speak to people who haven't been there, but it maybe is easier to speak through metaphors because when you go through this experience, maybe there are people who did exactly the IVF, but who felt this. Again, I'm talking about the metaphor that you used to represent it. They felt this through the different life story that they had. But they also had the feeling of, fighting tiny myriads of potentially deadly insects standing alone, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yes. It's easier to show that metaphorically. Also metaphorical, Carl Jung's this archetypal library. We all relate.
That's interesting. But talking about diary again and mysticism and archetypes, were there like creatures would immerse in your diaries? Like when I'm trying to visualize your diary now from what you already told me, I see sketches of medical equipment, people maybe who are in a line with you, on top of sometimes medical pieces of paper. But what else is there? The reason why I'm asking is partly because you said about this weird dream, for example, and I'm sure if they come in dreams, they also show up in the diary.
Yes, definitely. So I had a lot of boxes for my medications, and that was not in the queue, but in my studio, because you are using medicine and tablets all the day long. I had to do that in my studio. I had a lot of these paper boxes in my studio. So I unwrapped them and started to draw on the backside of the boxes. And for this, I started to do metaphorical things and these archetypal. In this moment, also, can you imagine, your hormone system is 20 times higher than usual. And so, intuitively, you are more open in that moment. I felt, it's my personal experience. I enjoyed actually drawing. For example, sometimes it could be just weird eyes in the sky, Sometimes it could be goddess. That's also part of another journaling, your metaphorical and your emotional.
So would it be right to say that inside your journaling process, there were two processes? There was one where you were scientifically studying what's happening to your body, and there was another one where you would go into mysticism and metaphors, and you would just let out whatever you would feel on that day or moment. Things that you describe metaphorically, the ones that you mentioned now, they sound like positive metaphors. So maybe you kind of were letting them out because it was something that you needed to see.
Yes, you need protectors, and you kind of
create them.
It's kind of spell for attracting protectors.
I love that you call it a spell. There's a spell to attract protectors on your side, and also you say that you've been seeing signs, taking notes from the universe, like, and talking to your environment in this way that is not yours, but it was switching on because you felt like you needed them.
Yeah, you needed it. Exactly at that moment, I started to think how many generations of women were before me. I just felt like all these generations are my small army. I had a project about my grandmothers. And again, we are turning to the sisterhood because my grandmother was one of the 5 sisters who became orphans very early. She was grown up by her sisters. It was during Russian revolutions, very dark and difficult times. And 5 sisters, together they bought a large house. They had children, they had families, but they lived all their lives together, and even I remember them. Because it was kind of very historically difficult times that men appeared from their life. Revolution, Stalin's time. In the end, it was a mansion with just women and children. Exactly during my IVF protocol, I had to do actually this project. So I was also thinking about ancestry. It was right moment, right project.
You said that you've been using boxes, that you took syringes, but how about materials in general? Because I know as an artist, you use oils most. But if I understand well from the sketches that I saw, you started using pencils, maybe some other materials. Or was that just because of the convenience? Because you did say that during this process, you have to listen to your body a lot. And I do feel that mediums that we choose, they often reflect some sensations needed now. Stepping away from oils was related to your experience, or it was just because, you can't do oils when you are waiting for 2 hours for the blood test?
Yeah, I think it is connected with, first of all, that's, as you mentioned, that was practical point of view, definitely, but I also spend some time in my studio when I can use oil, but somehow I didn't want. Oil is very emotionally loaded media, I think. But at that moment, you want something calmer, more soft.
They look dreamy. They look less even. And I was wondering whether this is you reflected on how you felt that moment.
Actually, I didn't think about that. It's your idea, not mine. It's a good point, but the way how I felt it was just unconsciously. It just happened. Maybe it's because I knew precisely which result I want.
Yeah, the shortest way to the result. This is super interesting because that's what I want to ask you. Because when I draw, for example, my emotions, I often use it to just get it out of my system. And I never know what the result would be. And often the result surprises me. And often the result helps me to actually reflect back on what it actually is. Because I just feel that it is something that is too much, and I not always can name it. Or if I name it, I feel that yes, but not quite. So I'm talking about complex emotions here, because when you're just angry or, happy, that is easy. But then sometimes emotions are really complicated. You feel it's all in one. I'm happy because of this part, but I'm also annoyed because of that part, and I'm also frustrated because of that bit, and it's all together. And that's why drawing it helps me to understand it, and I never know what the result will be. So how is that for you? When you start drawing, you already know what will be at the end here, or do you go with the flow, or is it different depending on the circumstances?
I think it's not only about drawing, it's about my entire life. I just know which way I would love to go. But I never know what will be in the end.
I see. So you have more or less the direction, and then on the way you picking up heroes, metaphors, colors.
Yes, I can, during my way, you can turn completely. It's okay, it's a journey. But I definitely can apply this metaphor to everything in my life.
But that's partly why I think, because in those creative processes, we sometimes see the strategies that we generally pick. One of the advices that was given to me about quite complicated sculpture that I was trying to sketch, and when my teacher came, I was like, I just have absolutely no idea how to draw it. And she went like, just start with the only place you understand, and then go from there. And it worked, but I must say that it works in like when I'm very confused and I have no idea what to do, like which decision to take, what to do with the situation where I'm in. I'm just like, okay, so let's look at the situation and try to find at least one little dot that I understand and start from there. It is very true that we can see the strategies that we're using through creative processes. There's another thing that I wanted to ask. When we start talking about the nature of the journal, does it look like a storybook, or are those just metaphors that are separated from each other? Is it a little bit like a comic book in a way?
I think I'm on my journey and what I see around in this journey.
So those are the worlds you visit?
Yes, it's kind of, again, like 18th centuries, explorers of new countries. What they see around, which flower, which animal, who they met.
So there could be demons coming out of the bushes.
Definitely. And I also, I am not afraid of demons in this world, because actually I think everything you can do in your life, it's not because of your light part, but because of your dark part, if you're using that. For example, people achieve something because they jealous sometimes to others' success.
Yeah.
I think it's the paradox of life that the best things you do, actually, they're driven by your dark side.
Am I hearing you right? You need to know your demons, befriend them, make them do what you want.
I'm not sure you can make them
do what you want.
They do what they want. But I think they should be on your side, especially in difficult moments.
That is quite a powerful metaphor, that your demons are on your side.
Yeah, and so I have a lot of dark creatures in my art. It's exactly because I'm not afraid of dark. It's only my dark parts pushing me do something.
Okay. So is that your dark part that is pushing you to go through, I don't know, the whole IVF treatment?
I think yes. It's the craving, it's willing, that's the feeling of fear of mortality. You are gaining immortality through your children.
In a way.
Everyone is afraid to die.
Yeah.
And if you have children, you feel like you prolong your DNA. It's animal instinct.
That is very interesting. I would need to think about it, because honestly, I think because I have children, I would say that increases the amount of fears in life massively, because you always, like before I was worried for myself, and you think it's like, okay, if I die, at least I won't be bothered by it after a second. But then when you have children, your worries about, like, I don't know, it is a very profound, intense experience in terms of thinking about death and thinking about life on a very different level, because I do fear for them more than I did for myself. And I added this to my life myself. And when I just had my first child, I was very angry with myself for this. I was like, why have you done it? Now you are just constantly scared and it's not going to go away. And I never felt that level of fear before.
But your first intention to have children was fear of mortality.
I would never say that it was. It could be. I think there were many other things that I would put before that, but that probably could be one of them. I would need to think about it deeper. I would probably give you different reasons first.
I think that's instinct and what we do, not realizing that. I can say it from my experience because I was speaking honestly with myself, and I thought, if it is my dark part, because it's definitely it is fear of mortality, I would love to prolong my DNA.
I would like to use the last 15 minutes to ask about tarots, because you say that you started using them during that period. And I know that you even wanted to draw your own deck. So I wanted to ask about the role of tarots was it something again that you made for your support system? Was drawing them, was it a professional artistic project, or was it more a project that again supports you because you can put your own metaphors in it and maybe you can do it more suitable for what you're using it for at the moment?
About that, I can say that I was amazed by myself. That was a surprise for me. I am not superstitious, believe me. But at that moment, when I was under treatment, I became extremely superstitious. And I noticed that. And one of my friends from IVF sisterhood had a tarot deck. And we just started to play with them. And the fortune telling was very bad, I can say. But somehow, it relaxed me. I don't know how it works, but I can say for me personally, when I am stressed, having conversation with tarot, with these metaphorical meanings, with this poetical, imaginary world, somehow helps me. Maybe it's giving me illusion that I'm in control, because there is a lot of situation when you are losing control, you don't have it all. At least you are having some answers. And I was absolutely okay that the answers were completely wrong. Because I think it's not about the answers. The thing is about this moment of having magic in your difficult period of life, or at least not difficult, in stressful. It could be good stress, bad stress, any stress. And it wows me. I'm very logical. When I realized that, it amazed me so much that I decided to dig it deeper. And so I started to draw them. You know that every artist can just do their own tarot deck. There is no strict rules about them.
Oh, really? No, I didn't know that.
I was also surprised. There is no strict rules about them. And also, tarot, during stressful time, they give not only imaginary control, but also they make this period poetic. You are creating a myth and a poetry from your own life.
I see.
From the experience you are having right now, right here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I like actually the mystery that I still don't understand how it works. We need some magic in our lives, mystery beyond our understanding. And partly I think art is this. It gives us another world, metaphorical world.
And just having this world on your side, you feel it helps to live the life generally.
Yes, I believe that art can influence you. Painting could be talisman. It's spirit protector for you.
That is very interesting. Can you unfold why?
Everything we base on our personal experience, I think. When I was a child, my parents bought me a painting with a monkey. Every time I was upset during my childhood, I just sat near the monkey, and it was very simple and not good quality painting, but it doesn't matter. I felt like it's my talisman.
That is interesting. Yeah.
Every time when I do something, I create a new spirit protector. It's a wish of good luck or making the wish come true. It's how I create now. I think my artwork is kind of protector spirit.
Please, if it resonates, like, share, comment, maybe send it to a friend. That helps enormously, especially at the very start. Thank you.